Hello, I am Tina Kadish. I'm a business coach, author, and speaker, and I empower female entrepreneurs to go from their job to joy and create a successful business strategy. And today I have the honor of having Lauri Ingram here, who is going to share her journey that she was in a corporate job. And we're going to learn more about Lauri's journey going from her career of over 20 years. And today she is an entrepreneur, and I'm so happy to be here with you, Lauri. So Lauri, thank you
You.
so much for being here
Oh,
today.
thanks, Tina. I'm
So,
happy to be here too.
so tell us a little bit about what I'd love for the listeners to know is what was your journey? Where were you in your career? What did you do?
How
And
did I get here?
how did
Right?
you
Yeah,
get
how
here
did I get here?
today? Yes,
Exactly.
how did you get here today,
How did I
Lauri?
get here? So, well, in a nutshell, you're making me younger than I am. I have like 40 years of
Okay.
corporate experience in IT, information technology. But it was really I'd say about 10 years ago, probably like many people in that part of their career, right? That I thought, something's missing. It wasn't that I had a bad job. I really liked the people I worked with, but something was missing and I didn't know what it was. So that started me down a path. And it's been 8 to 10 years now of really deep personal discovery of what I really felt that I was here in the world to do. And as part of that, I also said, how can I find that joy in my job? Because let's face it, job pays the bills. Over the past 8 years, it's paid for my training. It's paid, there's a lot of things that we need that my job fulfilled me with. But once I started down that journey of exploration, even when I was working, doors started to open for me.
Mm.
I became a mindfulness advocate. Even though I was in information technology, I became a mindfulness advocate. I started teaching meditation because I had a passion for it personally, right? I ended up being called very unexpectedly to go to a seminary. So I'm an ordained minister. Then I went through a spiritual counseling program. These are all things I didn't expect, but in retrospect made perfect sense, because when at the end of the day, I leaned into the things that made me feel invigorated, made me feel energized. And the more I leaned into them, the more the paths opened. And working full time and doing that, which is what I did for 4 or 5 years, was not necessarily easy, but it got me to the point where I really felt like it was time to go full time into what I was doing.
Mhm.
And I know we worked together to really hone in on the steps to do that, right?
Yes, yes. So Lauri, so you mentioned leaned in.
Mm-hmm.
What, for those of us listening,
Right.
how does somebody, they see that something is missing? Because that was me as well.
Right.
When I was in a corporate career, there's something missing. You're not following your passion, but yet you don't know what to do. And so when you
Right.
said leaned in, what are some things that you did? Can you be more specific on
Sure.
action steps you took?
Well, honestly, a lot of it was internal self work,
Okay.
right?
The
Because
inner
I looked at
work.
it as almost like three steps to it, right? I know what I like to do. I know what I like to spend my time doing. You know, for me, it's creativity. I developed a passion for meditation. I mean, those were the things,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Um, but I also knew that there were internally, and when I say lean in, it was leaning into those things that were more difficult,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
Really saying, okay, I know I have inner work to do in order to embrace doing what I want to do for a living, right? And I'll just give you one quick example.
Yes, please give me an example. Yes.
I have always been creative. I've always had creative hobbies, but I don't consider myself an artist, because when I was growing up, I was told, you're not that good, you'll never be good. Those are the
Mm,
stories in my head. And quite
Okay.
honestly, they held me back, right? So it was that realization that, and that's just one example, that we all have that. We all have those things wherever they came from, not necessarily bad intended, but we hold on to them. I needed to process that. I needed to see what those things were and really develop the confidence in myself,
Mm.
right? Going to the so that's what I'm leaning in. That's the work that we all do.
You
And sometimes
know,
we realize we're doing it, and sometimes,
so
we
you
don't.
mentioned some key things that hold us back because it's the stories. It is the
Yep,
stories.
it
For
is, right?
me, for me was always a story that I wasn't good enough.
Hmm.
I'm not going to I'll be able to get clients.
Right, right.
And why dream when might not happen, and all these stories that hold us back. The
They do.
confidence, you mentioned confidence, because what
Yeah.
happens a lot today, what I've learned from my clients, they lack the confidence
Yeah.
to take that leap.
Leap. Right. And doing it while you're still working, again, it's a lot of work, and that doesn't work for everybody, but that really helps because the more I started working with clients, one or two clients off on the side, and I started getting feedback, and I started feeling more confident that I was taking, and I do everything I offer to my clients is what I have learned from. You know, we it's everything I've been exposed to, everything in my life that works for me, that I enjoy doing is what I bring to my clients. I have a toolkit of many things.
You
But
do, you
I do.
definitely do.
You do. I do a lot of things. So,
So it took time, because what I want the listeners to understand, that you
mm,
don't just quit a job and start a
right.
business.
No.
It took me 6 years
Yeah.
working my business part-time and full-time. And let's be real here. Working a job helps you to fund
It does.
your business that you want to grow. It does. And so what I love that you did is you took action, though. And this is the thing that I want people to
Right.
understand. We can have dreams, we can have a vision, we can, say, I want to do this, but are we taking action? And you
Right.
did take action.
And even in your job, and that to me was what that missing piece was when I realized that even in my job, I was able to have these little slivers of opportunity to be creative, to be very fortunate to be trained as a mindfulness advocate and teach meditation. It may have only been a half hour a week, but you know what? Once I started to be authentic at work and really bring who I was
Mm.
into work, I began to have opportunities, even in my job, that made my job all the more fulfilling, even though I knew it was still just a part of my job, right?
So you brought your talents, because you had a
Hmm.
talent for creativity. You knew you were creative.
Yes.
Okay. And you brought that into the workplace,
Hmm.
which opened up the door for opportunities. And those
Right.
people at work could be your client
Uh,
today.
they could be someday. Yes, they could.
They could,
Uh, right.
So I love what you did, because one of the things, we sometimes we separate our job and our
Right.
business, but we have a lot of skills that we bring from our jobs
Absolutely.
that we
We
can
do.
bring into our business today. And that's what people seem to like. There's a disconnect. They separate the business from their job. But those skills that we've gotten from our careers are so powerful, so
Yep.
valuable. And I
Right.
love that you leaned in, you realized that you did a self-awareness, because this is something that I work with my clients, is I help them to develop what is their why.
Exactly. What is the why? Why do you get up in the morning? And really tune into that, because feel it in your, and what I tell my clients is, what does it feel like in your body, right? When
Mhm.
you're doing what you love, how does that feel? Just
Exactly.
time suspend, right? Do you feel that in your heart? Just because it's different for everybody, but tune into that and learn how it feels for you, because then you'll know when you're in that space and you
You
can do
know,
more of it, right?
yes. Yes. So what is some, I know we work together, for those of you listening in, I help my clients to create a successful business strategy and a blueprint of the business. And so Lauri and I worked together and she was able to create that foundation. This is something that I tell everybody in order for you to say, okay, I want to start a business, but do you really know what it is that you want to do? What is your foundation? What are the key steps you need to start that business? And of course, having the blueprint is important, but at the end of the day, it's taking action
Right.
on that blueprint. So,
Exactly.
Lauri, you're doing it, and today, or as of August 5th, I believe, right?
Um, yes, actually, last week. So today is the 11th. As of August 5th, I left my full-time corporate job and decided to just really put my energy full into this because the opportunities continued to come, and I really felt like I was at a point that I was ready for many reasons, and that's something each person has to decide. And I think I hate to say, people say to me, "How did you know?" And I just knew.
So
I
that's a good
just
question.
knew.
That's a good point because I was going to ask you, what was that turning point for you? Like that you said, now is the day I'm going to do, like, I'm going to do this now, because you've been working towards this for
Well,
years,
for several years,
for
right?
several years.
And I had well, part of it is being honest, my age. I'm 64, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be 65 in 6 months or so. So I had that kind of on the horizon as this would become my quote unquote um, retirement. I don't like that word.
Yeah, I
I
don't either.
prefer reinvention. I
You're
believe Steve
reinventing yourself.
Williams is using that. Is Yeah, reinventing. It's my next. It's
Chapter.
my next thing. It's who I am becoming. And just for many reasons, it just seemed like working in technology, you have to always be on, learning and, doing new, it's because it's changing so rapidly. And I really was at that point where my interests weren't there. My interests in, becoming more of a no, it's time for me to do what I love.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
uh, so not necessarily an easy answer other than because I do spend a lot of time in, meditation and journaling and all the work I do from a spiritual perspective. I really just felt like this was the time frame for me to do it.
Okay. So would you say most of the concerns that people have is I'm not going to make the money.
Hmm.
I have a good job. I'm making money in my job.
Right.
How will I, how can I transition, take that leap of faith and generate their income? So what would you recommend the listeners here to do to prepare for that transition? What are some key things they need to do, or something you've done to prepare
Mhm.
that the income?
Right. Well, quite honestly, I have saved up a certain amount to
uh,
help me over a period of time. And I do a lot myself. I am very fortunate that I'm very comfortable with technology. I do my own website, I do my own social media,
uh,
I can use QuickBooks, so I'm fortunate that I'm able to do that. Now, my goal is to not always have to do it all. But that was a decision I made. Setting up a budget, I think, is the other important piece. Understand where your expenses are. Now, I rent an office because I do see people in person, so I have a certain amount of overhead there. Because I'm able to do a lot of the operational stuff myself right now. That's not an expense I have. But the other expense is who do you need in your inner circle as you start for support, whether it's a coach, right, a business coach. I have a spiritual advisor that I use as well, right? Those to me are critical for me to get over this hump of starting, having that savings, but really watching the budget. And then the other piece is, and probably the hardest piece for me, my growing edge, as I call it, is the marketing.
okay.
you know Things like, how do you get the word out, right?
Mhm.
Where do you invest in marketing? I am right now, and I actually I've been writing articles in local magazines, which have really benefited me a lot. But there's an investment to that. So I think the other thing I can add is that it does take time. It's not an overnight. It's not overnight. Building your brand is really part of it. Who are you? How are you showing up? Who are you going to be to people? And ultimately just being yourself and being authentic, because I think we all crave that. We crave to work with people who we know are being who they are.
That's right. That's right.
So bringing that to whatever you do, no matter what it is, it can be anything, I think is a critical piece.
I love what you said. Yes, you're doing it all right now, but as you're going to build your business, you're going to be delegating, you're going to be outsourcing some tasks. I know that I just started doing that maybe last year, where I started delegating to a virtual assistant,
right?
Because I was doing it all. And so I want everybody to understand here is that, yeah, your budget, looking at your budget, what is it that you will spend? What are the costs? What are the things that you have to implement? And, here's the thing that I've learned from other people. Having a website and spending all that money is not the number one thing you need to do.
Right.
Okay. The first is what? Getting your brand out there, getting clients, generating revenue is what is so important. So I think that a lot of times we start a business and we start to spend all this money on things that are not going to bring us the revenue that we need to get.
And it's multiple streams of revenue as well. So I'm an ordained minister, so I do weddings, right? I work one-on-one with people. I do workshops. I'm developing online courses. I've started a YouTube channel. I'm looking at what are my multiple streams of revenue that I can develop.
Yeah.
Because there's only one of me. So there's only so many weddings I can do, right? There's only so many one-on-one sessions I can do. But how can I bring what I have to offer to people in different ways? So I think, if depending on the business you're in, that doesn't work for all businesses, but that's another thing to map out.
Yeah, so mapping it out. We're wrapping it up because I want to make sure that people can connect with you. I would love for you to share your website. How can people connect with you so they can learn more about you? Please. So how can people connect with you? What is your website?
So it's very easy. It's www.lauriingram.com. LAURIINGRAM.com. And my email is Lauri, LAURI, at lauriingram.com. So it's Lauri, no E, Ingram. You can find me those places.
Awesome. And I want all of
Facebook and Instagram too as well.
Yes, and you have a great newsletter that you send out, and if you want to get on Lauri's email list, so definitely check her out on her website to learn more.
Yep. I have a little freebie. If you sign up for my newsletter, I have a little workbook that people can get to help them to take that first step to what are they seeking in their life. It's called What Are You Seeking? And it's a little workbook of just kind of helping you start to unravel that what's missing piece.
That's really amazing. So thank you for offering that free gift to people. So all of you listening here, go out and get this free offer, learn more about Lauri, and because you can do it as well. Yeah, and it is a journey. It is a journey.
It is a journey. It's exciting though, and it's fun. It's really is, isn't it? I mean,
I love your energy. Lauri, when we started working together, what I love that a lot of people make excuses. I was one of them. And what holds us back is fear. A lot of times it's fear. It's making those excuses. But what you did is you did it in spite of the fear, because there was fear.
Oh, absolutely.
There's fear. But you got through it. And today, you're there. You're growing your business. You just started your business officially full time, but you were already building it along the way.
Yeah.
Get to where you are. So it's not like you just starting your business from scratch and you just quit your job. No.
No, exactly. It's been a few years, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So Lauri, thank you so much for being here today.
No, thank you for having me, Tina.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and all of you listening, please make sure that you connect with Lauri, and it's so great to be here with you. And until next time.
Okay. Thank you.